Hi everyone, welcome to the live. Hi hats. Hello everyone. Today we will be going through our ebooks again. Is the Wi-Fi laggy or is it just mine? Alright. Welcome to the live. Alright, today we'll be going through ebooks. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about the ebooks that we have, okay, you guys can always let me know and we will go through them. Right, but of course we do have a huge variety on our Podia website, so you guys can always check that out. Okay, do let me know if you're having any issues with that and our team will try to solve that for you. All right, but otherwise, yeah, it is a great day to do live stream today, so you guys please just let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, we have the service button below. You guys should be able to see it. It is the one. Oh, yeah, the Wi-Fi is slow. Yeah, the live stream always like lags behind the audio. Yeah, it's alright. But yeah. So I hope that everyone is doing well today. Alright, so we will begin our ebook shortly. We are just waiting for a few more people to enter. Hi, Lydia. Hi, SE. I see a lot of new faces that I have not seen before. Hi, the dice. Welcome to the live. How is everyone doing today? Alright, so again, we will be going through our ebook lives today. Alright, so you guys can always join us and take a look at what we're doing. Alright, let us know if you have any questions. We will be happy to go through them with you. Alright, but of course, we will also be going through our composition today. So okay, so if anyone has any questions, like if anyone's struggling in their own PSLE compositions and they want a bit of extra support, you guys can always let me know and I will go through it with you guys. All right, yeah, so definitely don't have to worry about that. We understand that PSLE is super soon. It is a super stressful period of time. We will be there to help you guys. All right. All right, so it's a very cold morning today. All right, let's begin. All right, so this is the first ebook that we're gonna go through. Okay, you guys can take a look. This is our PSLE model composition. It is currently 2090. You guys can see over here. Okay, this is the cover page in case you guys want to make that purchase on Podia instead. Okay, oh goodness. Technical buffer. All right. Hi, full marks for everything. Hello, Skibidi. All right. We have a lot of funny names here today, but yes. Again, this is the QR code in case anyone wants to make this purchase over here. Okay. Now, this is a PSLE composition model composition series. It is made up of 25 model compositions. They are specially written to tackle challenging top school questions. And every model composition in this booklet is crafted with a unique twist and a realistic story plot based on true events and news. Okay, so it is definitely something that I would say is more topic relevant, is more team relevant. You guys don't have to worry about it being out of team. If you, let's say you are currently working on that list of common themes with your teachers and your tuition centers, or even with us, you don't have to be worried that this is going to be out of theme, because it is all based on these kind of realistic stories and true events or news, and they have been vetted through by our teachers. Okay, there is also a vocab list attached to every model compositions, especially for students to beef up their vocab bank. Okay, so if you are one of those students who are struggling with a vocab bank, this is a great way to get started. Okay, we are very close to PSLE. We want students to be able to have this vocab bank without having to put in hours and hours of work just to get the same results. Okay, so that's completely understandable. Okay, we have this vocab bank, and it's specific to every single topic, so you will be able to get a topic specific list by the end of every composition. All right. Hi Kate, hi Eugene. Hi, welcome to the live. All right, but yeah, definitely, if this is something for you, you can just you can just make that purchase on Podia, or you can make that purchase here by the QR code. Okay, now some students do ask, why is a vocab bank so important, and I do want to take the chance to go through that. Okay, because a vocab bank is something that can really change the direction you're going in when it comes to your grades. Okay, now when it comes to a vocab bank, wait, could we have, do you have like a phone stand by any chance? Mm. All right. But yeah, a vocab bank is something that is super beneficial, especially for students who struggle to come up with words, or they struggle with that little extra bit of detail and their teachers are always bugging them for it. Okay, so the thing about a vocab bank is that you essentially build a list of vocabs that are specific to each topic, or you can just build a list of vocab that are more likely to come out or more likely to be used during the exam. Okay, so for how we usually recommend students do it is we can go by a list of emotions, like we have happiness, sadness, anger, etc., etc. Okay, and you essentially just look through your composition, see any words that you feel like would fit into that category, think of some synonyms and write them all down. Okay, and there you have it, you will have your very own vocab bank. Okay, so that is definitely one way to go about it. However, for students who are strapped of time, one very good way to do so is by purchasing that vocab bank, and you can do so via our ebook. Okay, there will be that vocab list. Thank you. You will be able to you will be able to get that via our ebook. Okay, so by purchasing our ebook, you will essentially be getting um a free vocab bank. Okay, that's essentially it. Okay. All right, so let's dive in a bit deeper into what is inside. All right, so you guys can see over here, this is the contents page that I'm showing you guys right now. It should be on now, right? Okay, as you guys can see over here, we have quite a lot of different chapters. Okay, we'll have 25 model compositions in this booklet, like I mentioned. Okay, so we have around 3 pages per chapter. You guys can see it over here. Okay, you guys, I'm going to zoom in a bit more for you guys. All right, so each chapter will roughly be about 3 pages. And to give you guys a bit more insight on what's going on inside, each chapter will roughly have one model composition and also have one vocab list. All right, so you guys can roughly make that estimate. The vocab list will be one to 2 pages long. The model composition will also be around 1 to 2 pages long. So all together, you will be getting that. You will really be getting that content. If you make that calculation yourself, okay, you can see that there's really little to no filler pages in this booklet. Okay, Everything is just content, so you guys can take a look. Okay, so you guys can see it's really a lot of different teams, and these are all specially written to tackle these kind of top school exam questions. Okay, understand that when students do their assessment books, I did so when I was a student, we would always tackle the top school papers. Okay, so this set is extremely good for students who are like that, because they are already made to tackle these kind of questions that you want to be testing yourself with at home. All right. So again, it is $29.90. You guys can always make that purchase via the QR code over here, okay? Or you guys can make that purchase on Podia, okay? On Podia, we have a lot of different ebooks, okay? We have quite a lot like editing. We have those for like oral. Okay, we have quite an amount, and you can always make a bundle purchase for even more value, okay? So that is completely up to you and what you need, or in this case, if you are a parent watching the live stream, what your child will need. All right. Okay, now to go a bit deeper into what is offered. Okay, you guys can see over here. Okay, let's make sure everyone can see it. Okay, we have the model composition itself and the vocab bank. So you guys should be able to see over here that this is the format for the model composition and vocab. Okay, it will roughly be in this format. We do bold some of the good phrases that we do want students to focus on, and we do add them to our vocab bank. So students can just pay attention when it comes to annotating, learning what they can. And we already have an easy reference for you guys, this vocab list over here. It is essentially all the sophisticated phrases, the phrases that will be beneficial for students, that are all listed together. All right. Okay, so this is the QR code again and the cover for students' reference. Okay. Now let's move on to the O-level model essay. Okay, this one is quite interesting. Before we move on to the O-level essay, could we please have a video on this ebook? Mm. All right. So as you guys can see, we do have new sets of ebooks. Yeah, we're always coming out with new products, so you guys can always take a look at that on our Podia website. Okay, so you guys should be able to just search Writers at Work Podia and it should pop up. All right. Okay, now let's move on to the O-level English. Oh, the O-level English essay. All right, so you guys can take a look. Okay, so this is the O-level English essay. So you guys can take a look. Over here, we have the cover page in case, for everyone's reference, in case you guys would prefer to buy on Podia yourselves. All right, and we also have the QR code over here. Okay, everyone can take a look. It is currently $26.90. Okay, for everyone's information. Okay, let's look at the content. Okay, that is, we definitely do want everyone to be making a purchase where they know what's inside. Okay, we don't want people to just we want people to understand what is inside. All right, so I'm gonna go through the contents page, and you guys can feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. Okay. Um. Okay. I do want everyone to know that this is targeted preparation. Okay. That is some of the key features over here. It is 2016 to 2022 O level, and it has the following features that honestly I am such a fan of. All right. Comprehension question analysis. Okay. I'll go through that in a bit. That is something that I feel is so great when it comes to students doing that bit of self study. It actually trains that train of thought so that students are able to break down questions on their own even without this booklet. Okay, because the main thing about a successful teacher or a successful assessment book is that we want students to be able to take away something from it, such that when they actually go into the exam, they are not still in need of that guidance. They are able to have already an instinctive reaction when they see a paper. Okay, they understand instinctively what to do. Okay, that's exactly what we want as teachers, and it's exactly what we want as people who are currently providing these kind of content and ebooks. All right, so over here we have the 2022 and 21. Okay, you guys can take a look. Okay, so now some people enjoy being in a crowded place while others prefer being somewhere quieter with fewer people. Describe your perfect place where you want to relax. Okay, that's the first question. Okay, as we can see from this, it is more of a description. Okay, this is what they want us to do. They want us to describe a perfect place. Okay, it can be the environment, it can be a place where it just simply makes you happy. You can describe the audio, the soundscape, you can describe how it makes you feel, you can describe the environment like beautiful scenery. Okay, maybe like a very grassy bed at your old school, or like your favorite swimming pool. Okay, things like that. Okay, and then for question two over here, it is slightly different. I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Right about the time that you felt like this. Okay, so this is something that requires you to break down the question even more, and we can see from the ending, right about the time when you felt like this, that it requires you to write a narrative. Okay, it's not a description, not an argumentative essay, a narrative. Okay, I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay, so the questions that are coming through my head at this moment of time are, okay, when it comes to strength, are we talking about physical strength? Are we talking about mental strength? Okay, like physical strength as in, let's say I were to lift weights every single day and now I'm able to lift twice my own weight, or mental strength that I went through something super traumatic and then now I'm more resilient than ever. Okay, these are all things that can actually mean being stronger. Okay, so definitely it's so important to be able to define that in your composition. Okay, and then we also see the words realize and previously, and these two words suggest that there is a certain change, whether a mindset or a specific event that just sparked something, um a different a growth in a different direction. All right, so these are all things that are some things that you should note when you're writing a composition. Right, and we have the third one. Young people spend so much time thinking about the future that they forget to enjoy the present. How far do you agree? So from the last sentence, we know for a fact that it's going to be an argumentative essay. Okay, this is something that requires you to tell them the extent. Okay, we can see that from the word far. You can say it's a to a big extent or to a small extent. Okay, these are all things that you have to figure out in your composition. You have to structure it correctly, and you have to write the right content. All right, so definitely our content is not just one type of question and we just keep on explaining that. That is not what we do. Okay, our content will be multiple different essays, different essay types, and we will go through it in the Compo booklet one by one. Okay, now for those who are waiting to hear more about the comprehensive question analysis, thank you so much for waiting. Okay, I'm gonna do a bit of a breakdown for question two, and this is taken from our this particular ebook, so you guys can take a look. Okay, now it's a 3 point breakdown. Okay, number one, essay question genre. Okay, so what is the genre over here? We know that it's a narrative essay because we see that what about a time that you felt like this. Okay, so it requires you to describe an event, not just a place. All right, and keywords to note. Okay, we have A and B. Number one, realize, like I mentioned, an event that caused you to revoke this presumption that you have of yourself. Number two, or B, could be physically or mentally. So it's talking about strength. Okay, you can talk about why you had self-doubts about your capability and then explain in detail one particular situation that aided in regaining your confidence and strength. Okay, now since strength can be either physical or mental, it will be good to cover both in your essay. Okay, so definitely I will be reading out the composition that was given, the model composition itself, so you guys can have an understanding of how to follow these kind of guidelines. Okay, definitely it's so important to write guidelines that you will be able to keep up with when you're actually writing your composition during the exam. Okay, so do note that. Okay, and also let you guys see this. Okay, spaced repetition. Okay, now we're talking about exam strategies, effective learning strategies. Okay, this is something for students to work on their exam preps and language mechanics. Okay, like I always mention, it's a bit of a story time. I'm someone who realized a little bit too late, who learned a little too a bit too late about her own learning styles. Okay, for reference, I am a visual or auditory learner. Okay, so I've always been thinking that if my peers are learning so well from whiteboards, they're doing so well in class, I just have to write an excessive amount of notes and I will do as well as them. Okay, that wasn't the case because the minute I started switching to videos, like YouTube animations, or even voice recordings, my results start going up. Okay, so it's definitely so important for students to be able to identify what is right for them. And I feel like to do that, you require that amount of exposure, and that exposure was not something that I had grow in high school. So definitely it is something that we would like to focus on with students. All right. Over here, it also explains to you what the different exam strategies are. It defines it for you, and then proceeds to teach you how to practice it. Whatever one you're looking at in particular. All right. So over here we have spaced repetition refers to a method of reviewing material at systematic intervals. Okay. The more you encounter certain bits of information, the less information you need to refresh your memory of it. Instead of leaving your revision to the last minute, just 30 minutes of every days for a long period of time will help you to retain memory much more easily. Okay, now how to practice. Number one is to review your notes. So within 20 to 24 hours of the intake of information, review them again and for short-term retention. Okay, now when you review the content, you want to read them and then look away and try to recall the important parts. You can also do so by um, intentional reading. And what I mean by intentional reading is annotating, highlighting. All right, recall after a day, try recalling the information again, and this time without referring to your notes. Okay, now day three is recall again. Recall the material every 2 to 3 days over the course of a week. This will ensure your brain is constantly refreshed with content and commit to long-term memory. Right, now before I move on to this passage, I'm going to read out the entire passage for you. I also want to highlight that we do have June holiday classes for students who feel like it might be a bit more beneficial for them to learn from a teacher in a face-to-face setting. Okay, that's completely understandable. Over here, we're talking about self-studies, uses of assessment books. Okay, but it's also completely possible for you to use these booklets as an addition to whatever your teacher is teaching you, or to make that an additional resource essentially. All right, could we also play the video for the June holiday program? All right. So as you guys can see, we also have the June holiday program, okay, for students who are looking for a more kind of immersive learning, going to class, having their class in real life, right? But yes, okay, now we are going to go into this composition to help everyone understand a bit more about what we provide here at Writers for Work in our ebooks, all right? Okay, so over here we have this is the O level one, okay? So you guys can take a look. I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought, okay? So I've annotated it here for everyone's reference, okay? Okay, so from the word realized and from the word stronger, we can think that there is some sort of change that resulted in you being stronger. That means previously you were not as strong as this. Okay, there is that comparison over here, especially you can see from this part. Okay, and the word previously and the word realized. Okay, these are all things that give that away. And they say that right about the time where you felt like this. So we're talking about a specific event. Okay. Okay, so let's go about this. All right. Self doubt, fear of failure. Those two were like Bonnie and Clyde. Okay. So we're talking about like self doubt, we're talking about fear of failure. And the thing about Bonnie and Clyde is we actually have the explanation here in our vocabulary, so it's easy reference, so you guys can take a look. Bonnie and Clyde describes a pair of criminals working together, and it's something that originated from a famous couple that committed crimes together in the 1930s. Okay, so we can really see that what it means over here is that self-doubt and fear of failure come together as a pair, and as a pair that brings about something disastrous. All right. Okay, partners in crime working hand in hand when it came to demolishing my courage. Okay, so demolishing my courage was kind of like the ceiling that was done by the actual Bonnie and Clyde. Okay, in taking part in competitions. The humiliating defeat of my very first ice skating competition haunted me, but one bad experience shall not cripple my fighting spirit. Okay, so we see over here that the strength that we are talking about is in the fighting spirit. To become a competitive figure skater. It was a moment of epiphany that made me realize that I was much stronger than I had previously thought, alright? So looking back at my first figure skating competition was a catalyst of my downfall, okay? And I had wallowed in self-pity for the longest time. It was a small zone competition where there were live spectators sitting around a small ice skating rink in Jurong, and my friends were doing a live stream to share my underclassmates who could not be there with us. I was brimming with confidence and I felt the strength in my legs when I put the skating shoes to get ready for my turn to compete. This is going to be a breeze, I muttered to myself under my breath as I recalled the short months of training leading up to this moment. Little did I know that the sense of complacency would soon send me down an abyss of humiliating defeat, okay? So this is foreshadowing. Okay, so you can see the humiliating defeat. We are really linking to that. So we have been foreshadowing since the very start. Okay, you can see that the annotations that I'm doing it directly on this book. Okay, so the thing is, what you can do is when you have made that purchase yourself, is that you can do the exact same. Okay, you can annotate your book. You can annotate the ebook. Okay, you can print it out and annotate it, or you can annotate it via the iPad, like I'm doing right now. Okay, and what's great about that is that you can have a direct you can look at it directly and understand um yeah, you can all it's easy reference. It's definitely easy reference. Okay. Stepping to the ring, I shot my classmates a smirk that was clouded in an air of confidence. Okay, so I really want to put an emphasis on the word clouded over here. So it does give a feeling that her judgment is clouded, because that's how we usually use the word clouded. Okay, so that she is kind of she wasn't essentially um wasn't able to see clearly. Okay, so essentially that she was overconfident. My hand sequence was choreographed by both me and my coach, and I knew it like the back of my hand. Okay, so that is the reason why she is overconfident. Okay, you always have to give a good enough a bit of a reason. Okay, you can't just say something like, for her, if she would just to say I shot my classmates a smirk that was clouded in the air of confidence, it can and it would be better to be backed up by why. Okay, and it does give more context to what happens later. All right. When I got onto the surface, onto the ring, I let muscle memory take the stage as I started to skate to the classical music. I had heard this song time and time again, but the familiarity emanated a sense of certainty and conviction. Before I could even complete my jump sequence, I lost balance and fell. Okay, so this is exactly where we have the defeat and humiliation. My world went in slow mo as my limp body plummeted into the cold and harsh embrace of the ice. The spectators stopped cheering, and my world too had stopped in that very moment. Alright? So it's the extent, it's almost a hyperbole. What became of that day remained a blur to me. Okay, so it does suggest that it's super traumatic. The mix and mash of red flashing ambulance lights, as well as my coach and parents' face of worry right before I blacked out. Okay, over here, then we have the next paragraph. The failed jump sequence did not leave any permanent damage. I hit the sides of my face and the wound healed beautifully. However, I was mentally and emotionally scarred by my very public failure, and all I could see in the mental image of myself was tinged with disappointment and embarrassment. Okay, so it really links to the idea of humiliation over here. I concurred that everyone was mocking me and that I was simply an embodiment of defeat. Those fears materialized on my physique. Okay, you could also say this manifested. And I was certain that there was absolutely no strength in my legs. So there's that sense of contrast towards what is said in the composition. So it gives more room for there to be a jump from that she becomes stronger, or a bigger jump. The very same pair of legs that stood strong in the skating shoes. The very same pair of legs that I believe could execute the jump sequence. Perhaps I was not as strong as I imagined myself to be. I developed an intense fear and dread towards competitive skating scene and all forms of competition. Okay, so it's definitely something that I would say is traumatic for her. I'd given up, but my coach had not. After my recovery, I repudiated my coach's relentless pleas for me to try skating again because my big fall had abolished any form of dignity and self respect I had formerly possessed. Then one day, I received a text message from my coach, and it was accompanied by a short video. I absentmindedly clicked on the video, and it was a clip of my very first competition scenes of me skating in that pristine white rink. My coach's voice echoed in the background of the video, and he analyzed my every move. You were great at the start, but take a close look at your stance before you did the jump. Your alignment was there's a misalignment in your dot dot dot. My heart thumped against my ribcage as I watched this video with bated breath. I listened to my coach's words as he broke down what we could do to improve all the basic the belted all the moves. All right. When the video ended, I broke down and cried because I realized I really miss skating. I miss being on the ice and gliding across the expanse of the ice rink. I dried my tears resolutely and put my fists together. I decided it was time. Time for me to try again. This time round, okay? So we do have the idea that there was a previous and then Karen at this time round, alright? I devoted my heart and soul into the training, pouring blood, sweat, and tears at every training session. I felt countless times during training there was pain and tears shed, but no strength lost. Okay, so it does show this, that she is. In fact, with every rigorous training, I felt myself growing stronger and stronger, and I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay, so um, the day of the competition had finally arrived, and the tidal waves of anxiety and stress started as I waited for my turn on the rink. The lacing of my skates felt stifling tight, just like how my chest was tight with anxiety. Like a snap to attention, I heard my name blaring from the speakers, echoing over the arena. This was it. This was my time to shine. Okay. I got into the ring and vowed to give it my all. The soreness in my core, anxiety in my chest, and all of my self doubt melted away as I devoted my entirety to the jump sequences. My momentum accumulated at the peak of the music that accompanied the routine, and I executed every jump and spin to loud applause. My choreographed routine ended as quickly as it began, so it went well. I glided across the ring as gracefully as a swan with an aura of confidence and pride. I did it. It was surreal, but I did it. I'm thankful that I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought. Bit of technical difficulties. Okay, link to question. Okay, so definitely it is so important that you're constantly linking to the question and showing the readers that there is that relevance over there. Okay, we don't want to have this composition that at the end you realize that it's not relevant at all. That's why planning is so important. Okay, and that's why I really emphasize the comprehensive question analysis that we have over here. All right. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the topic specific language as well. This is the vocab list that we will also be attaching to the O-level ones, so you guys can take a look over here. I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay, we have Bonnie and Clyde, Catalyst, Brimming with Confidence. Okay, these are all words to note down. Okay, because they will definitely add the extra bit of sophistication to your composition. Okay, you guys can see them over here. All right. Okay, before I go to the PSLE composition, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the cover page again. Okay, so you guys can see from here, this is a yellow book. Okay, you guys can also make this purchase on Podia. Okay, I will be going through it shortly, and then you guys can roughly see what the insides are like. Okay, but this is a model composition. It is made up of 25 different model compositions, and it comes with a vocab list. Okay, do we have a video on this particular ebook, the PSLE model composition? It's okay, let's just play the ebook video in general. Hi, chill cat. Welcome to the live. How are you doing? Yuhao is here too. Hi. Today is such a lazy Saturday. Hi, chill cat. Sure, what's this? This is the ebook live again. Okay, we are going through the same composition as we are yesterday. Okay, we're going through it again for students who did not manage to catch it yesterday. How do you have any tuition today? Any tuition? At primary three, you should have. I don't know. I had a lot of tuition when I was in primary three. Hi, a chill cat. Is a chill cat still here? All right. We'll be going through our PSLE composition again. But before that, I do want to show everyone the contents page again and go through that again. Okay, so a lot of tuition. Do you go to English tuition with writers by any chance? Like writers at work? Like us? No. you can always buy our ebooks to use as additional resources. Okay, you don't necessarily. Mm-mm. Okay, I see. But you can definitely use our resources on top of that, because our resources you can actually self study, and I think it's very very important for students to have that balance between like a tuition teacher and self study, because a tuition teacher is definitely very helpful. It definitely helps when you want someone that you can directly just ask, you just say, okay, what am I doing wrong, and tell you directly. Okay, but if you're looking for something that you can do in a more chill way at home by yourself, let's say you have some like issues that you're facing, like especially like for the O-level students, maybe they have like some issue of like breakdown and they want something just more explicitly written instead of said, then this ebooks might be more helpful. Again, it's a learning style, it's learning styles, because I do know some students, um and I previously had classmates of my own who they just do better when it comes to like reading notes themselves. For some reason they would not, it was harder for them to like absorb information um said by someone as compared to like reading information by themselves. I don't know, but for me it was kind of the other way around. I did better with audio. That means like if I were to watch videos of someone going through something, especially with animations, like if we did cell biology, I would love that they had like the little animation over there as compared to if a teacher was going through it by the whiteboard. All right, so it's, yeah, ebooks are helpful. They are, and I think it's great that you have exposure to that at primary three, because I did not have exposure to like, I did not really personally, I always had the misconception that like ebooks were too much of a summary, okay? Because the ebooks that I was exposed to or that I heard on off online were always too much of summaries, and I did not truly understand what was like in them. So like um I was I was not very like open to it at that moment of time, but definitely, and right now at this point, now that I'm teaching ebooks myself, I definitely feel that there is a lot of value to ebooks, especially for students who, let's say, they are they're not that open to going to classes all the time, or they have a very busy schedule. So ebooks definitely helpful. All right, and actually, I think we have moderator. We have ebooks that come with videos, right? That come with videos, right? Yeah, we do. So yeah, that is something that is definitely helpful. There is that it gives you that room for exploration, like what is best for you, it's definitely, that's why I think it's something that is super valuable, definitely. Because I could have done, so I feel like I would have done so much better with that additional bit of exposure. I like the video. Well, thank you so much for, oh, I still like the video, like our ebook video or this one. The ebook videos are quite good. They do give the comprehensive explanation. Either way, thank you so much, Yuhao. Alright. Okay. Let's look at the contents page again. Okay, you guys can see over here. Can How clear is it? Okay, it is quite clear. Okay. Okay. Now, when it comes to the contents page that we have over here, okay, like I mentioned before, everyone can actually see that it's around like 3 pages long. Okay, and what's so good about that is that it's concise enough such that you don't get too overwhelmed, but at the same time it's comprehensive enough. Okay, so the thing about this is that each chapter will include a model composition as well as a vocab list. Okay, so definitely easy reference. I would say you don't have to be writing your own like vocab list the entire time. You don't have to be like struggling to like find where everything is, because it's all together. All right, and it will roughly be about like 1 to 2 pages each, like when it comes to the composition 1 to 2 pages, and then what do you call that, uh oh, the vocab list 1 to 2 pages, so definitely it'll be about like 3 pages in total. So if you can do like the calculation by yourself over here, because I'm showing you guys like the numbers, you guys can really see that there is little to no filler pages. There is no like, it's not like those assessment books where you see like the blank pages inside. We don't have that. It is just content. It's just content over here. And this $30, it won't be just like for a very thin book. It is for it's for like 25 compositions, and you can see uh over here that it is quite a lot. All right, 25 compositions, yeah, and 75. So like really really around like 3 pages per chapter. Okay, so the numbers are really adding up. Right, and I just went through like the O level composition, but I will be going through and reading through really quickly the this one. All right. Okay, so actually, you guys can take a read if you guys want. This is the Dumb and Dumber, but we will actually go through the one that is that says actions speak louder than words. All right, that one is the one that we mainly go through. Okay, we have gone through that before quite a few times. Okay, and I think this is until what time? Okay, so we will be doing this ebook live all the way to 1:15. Okay, so around like 1 more hour, and then we will be going forward with the I think it's the June holiday live. Okay, so we'll be going through the June holiday programs that we have available. That will be from wait, moderator. The June holiday program, it live will be around 2:15 to what time? 4. 2:15 to 4. 2:15 to 4. Right. So it'll be around that time. Is there anything in particular that you want to see, you how? Is there anything that you're like super interested in on something that you want to like focus on? Because we could always do that. Like when it comes to composition, I am happy to go through something additional to what it like. I'm not going to the June holiday. Okay, I understand. That's okay. Is there anything in particular about the composition that you would like to like learn more about? Any questions you might have, or any comments that you have been getting from teachers quite frequently? Because I understand. No, don't be sorry. It's alright. It's alright. Don't worry about it. But yeah, you can always let me know if there are any comments that your teacher has been giving your papers a lot recently. Okay, and then we can try to work it out, try to see like if there's any way to help you to understand a bit the comments a bit better. Okay, so you could definitely always let me know, and that's the same for everyone. You guys can always let me know if there's anything in particular that you guys would like me to go through. All right, but right now I'm going to be reading the PSLE model composition so that you guys can roughly understand what we're talking about, right? Okay. Okay, so I'll be going through the pre-annotated topic copy today so that everyone can take a look. Okay, so you guys can see over here that this is description. This is the there's a lot more descriptions in the first paragraph. Okay, I did mention before that it is quite common that you are having like more descriptions on like one paragraph than the other. Okay, it's very important to have this general balance, while certain paragraphs are it just requires more description. They are more open to description, and certain paragraphs are more open to progress. Okay, so both of that it's okay and it's normal. Okay, like when it comes to the rising action, so around like the second paragraph, you will notice that there's a lot more progress in your story than usual, and that's okay. Okay, my bro is actually Yu Hao and I'm Cheng Xi. Oh, okay, I'll call you Cheng Xi later. So this is like your bro's TikTok account. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, so you're in primary 3, and I'm gonna make a guess, your bro's in I'm guessing if your bro has a TikTok account, your bro is older than you. So roughly around primary 5? Primary 5? Let me know if I'm correct. It would be really, really fun if I'm correct. Alright, so definitely Yeah, so it's completely normal that, let's say, you have more detail in your first paragraph, especially because in your introduction you are actually setting the scene. Okay, so I've actually gone through like how to craft a good introduction here on TikTok with some students. Okay, so definitely if you guys want me to go through that again, I'd be happy to do that. But of course there's a lot of different ways to start a composition. Okay, this is just one of the ways. You don't have to start it like this. Okay, but this is a way. Okay, so in this case, this it's actually a flashback. Okay, it's actually a flashback, meaning that you are looking back at something, and essentially you will be moving and transitioning back to this specific scene that you started with at some point in the composition. All right, so that is a thing. Okay, over here I'm gonna start reading. Okay, again, blue is progress, yellow is detail, and where it's both blue and yellow, um, where it looks slightly a bit green, it is where both intersect essentially. All right, so we can actually take a look together. All right, I sniffed tearily as I tucked a brother's sleeve with a trembling hand. I'm sorry, brother. I swear it was really an accident. It really was an accident. I'm sorry, I cried plaintively. Brother did not even look at my direction as he yanked his sleeve out of my hand and stalked away. I trailed behind him, repeating my apology like a broken recorder. No matter how many times I apologized, Brother refused to acknowledge my existence. I felt like I was being sliced into ribbons, the deadly silence that he wielded cutting me deep with every failed apology. I'd never seen Brother so furious in my life, and I did not know how to put an end to this silent treatment. Oh. Fixing my eyes on Kiki, the family cat, twining itself apologetically around my legs, the memory of what caused the silent treatment started replaying in my mind. Okay, so this is the first one, so you can definitely see from this one that it is a lot of descriptions over here. It's a lot of yellow. Okay, and I want some of my favorite phrases over here are wielded, slides, and fixing my eyes. And the last sentence. Okay, I do feel like it's super important that I do bring up structure. Okay, because structure is something that can be easily overlooked. Okay, but there's actually a lot of value in structure, because the thing about structure is that it not only frames your story, it not only maximizes the impact of your story, but the thing about structure is that it can also add detail. Okay, I'll tell you guys more about it later. Okay, so just stay with me now. All right, so you guys can see I like the word wielded because over here, wielded is usually used in the sense of a sword. So the fact that they use wielded here shows like how thick, how painful it was, that um the brother did not accept the apology, right? And I was being sliced into ribbons. It really adds to the fact that the brother's silence was piercing. Okay, fixing my eyes on Kiki, the family cat. Okay, so I feel like fixing my eyes is such a good word choice, because fixing my eyes essentially means that you are bringing your eyes, opening them on Kiki, and staying there, you know. So actually like your eyes are actually just laser focused on something. Okay, um yeah, so definitely there is that option that they could just say looking at Kiki tweeting itself apologetically around my legs. It conveys the same message, but it does not have the same effect. Okay, so it's super important that you are making the right word choices all the time. All right, so over here we also have the memory of what caused the silent treatment to start playing my mind. So it is the beginning of a transition, and that's a very fun way to um, to actually start a composition of flashback. Okay, but of course, students, don't try flashback for the first time. Um, if you're not used to flashbacks, don't try it for the first time in your exam. Okay, please try it at home first, have it marked by a teacher, see how good it is, make those adjustments, and then show it. Okay, so we actually do have a lot of classes for that, so you can always let us know if you're interested. Okay, next paragraph. Throwing the door to brother's room open in a flourish, I bounded inside and flung myself onto his bed. Just as I was starting to drift off to sleep, Kiki came shrieking into the room like a comet. Jerking awake, I called out to it, but something had caught its eye. Its favorite toy was sitting on top of brother's desk. Kiki gleefully got its way up to it without hesitation before scampering away with it in its mouth. Suddenly, I saw a piece of calligraphy paper fluttering down the air as it drifted to the floor. Shock pierced my heart, a foreboding um, chill running down my spine. I turned my back to its brother's desk, a dread slowing time down. My breath caught in my throat at the horrifying sight. My brother's Chinese calligraphy set that he had spent weeks preparing for his direct school admission portfolio had been ripped to shreds by Kiki's claws. My lips parted in a silent scream, pain coursing through my veins. I knew how close the deadline for the portfolio submission was. Before I could do anything to salvage the situation, brother appeared. He took one look at his destroyed masterpiece and my guilty expression before kicking me out. Okay, so there's definitely that as well. Okay. Okay, so these are definitely some of the things that we go through in our ebooks, okay? But definitely we also do go through some of these in our compo classes, okay? Could we also play a June holiday the video again for everyone to see? Moderator, could we play like the June holiday video again? Yeah. So again, there is definitely a lot of value in both the June holiday program and the ebooks. Okay, so it's really depending on what kind of learning style you have, or let's say like what kind of interest you have. Like maybe you are more interested in real life, teach a learning experience, or if you're the kind of person who just does better learning by themselves at home. Okay, both are options. Okay. Hi, my brother is primary five. Okay, yeah, I guessed it correctly. That's great. Right? So yeah, definitely. So it depends on you. Okay. So it really depends on you, like what you like for your own studies. Okay. So yeah. All right. Okay. Let's read the second paragraph. Okay, so we've already looked through the second paragraph. Okay, I do want to highlight a few things. Number one, it's jerking awake. Okay, jerking awake, I feel like it really adds to that because it's very like specific language. You're using language that actually paints a picture. It is two words, but it shows us exactly how she woke up. She didn't just wake up via like very, very slowly. She jerked awake. Okay, you can imagine that she like jerked awake. Okay, um something caught its eye. That means its attention was caught. Okay, there's a lot of different ways that you can say it. I called out to it, but something had caught its attention, something had caught its eye. Okay, but definitely one of the simplest ways that you can say it, but it was looking at something. Okay, that is some way to say it, but it does not have the same effect as if you were to say something had caught its eye or something caught its attention. Okay, so both mean the same thing, but both are definitely good options. Okay. Okay, so you can say gleefully clawed. It's also one of the words you see highlighted in yellow. Okay, yellow is detail. Okay, I'm highlighting it, underlining it in red as well because I feel like it really highlights the fact that she's not just walking up there, she is clawing her way up there. She's digging her claws in and actually making her way up there. So these are all things that add to the story, even though it's only one or two words long. Okay, so you guys can all see that over here. Okay, also over here, you say before I could salvage the situation. You guys can see this, the word salvage. The word salvage is so typically used in war. Okay, so the fact that she's using it here shows that it's almost like a war crime that Kiki made. Okay, so it's so intense, something that is so disastrous. Okay, so it's completely Kiki's fault, and it really really gives us a bit of perspective of why she said that Kiki was twinning itself apologetically around her legs. Okay, so number one, we were thinking that number one, it could be mirroring her sadness, or the fact that she says apologetically says that it is Kiki's fault. Okay, so it is Kiki should be the one taking the blame, but she's not, and the author is the one taking the blame. All right. Also, you can see the word over here, shock pierced my heart. So you can actually imagine that someone is so upset that shock becomes something that is so sharp. It's almost like a sword. Like I'm gonna draw a little sword here so people understand. Okay, it's not exactly look like a sword, but you guys get what I mean. All right. You see there are definitely a lot scampering away. The use of scampering away, it really does show that Kiki is not just running away, but the fact that Kiki is also a rascal. Because when you say someone's scampering away, you don't think of someone who's very graceful, someone who is a very good child. You're thinking about someone that is very active, someone that is prone to doing something that causes like displeasure or like inconvenience to someone else. So a bit of a rascal. Oh my goodness. Okay, and I really like the fact that her lips parted in a silent scream. That means she really felt like screaming, but she wasn't able to. Okay, it's truly I feel like the word choices in these compositions are definitely top tier, so everyone can take that reference from this booklet definitely. All right, over here, let's read the third paragraph. Meow Kiki mewed as it fixed its round orbs on me. Okay, I highlighted it in red before. Okay, it's definitely something that I want us to look at. Snapping me out of the nightmare. I tried to apologize to brother once more. He slammed the door in my face. Tears rolled down my cheeks, my lips quivering as I stared at the closed door. Slumping against his door, I waited for him to come out. However, the door remained shut even when our parents attempted to mediate. I knew I had to do something to show the sincerity in my apology. This time, mere words were not gonna cut it. Alright, so definitely a lot of things going on over here, but you can see that it's much more balanced than the introduction and the second paragraph. Okay, so definitely do have that reference over there. It really shows us that it is okay that you're putting in a bit more detail and your rising action to move the story forward, or a bit less progress in your story, in your introduction, just so that you can set the scene. Okay, both are okay. Okay, I'm gonna put a bit of emphasis on the word on the phrase fixed its round orbs on me. Okay, I think it's something that is super it's very interesting because it actually adds in the engagement. I did not realize it until I paused myself to think about what it meant. Okay, so when your reader is pausing for that second to think about what you mean, okay, it shows that your reader is engaged. Okay, it's definitely one way to engage your readers. Okay, when you say someone fixed round orbs on me, it's definitely a better way of saying it looked at me. Okay, so it's definitely a lot more sophisticated than saying that someone looked at me. Okay, but it essentially means the same thing when you say someone's fixed there's round orbs you means eyes, right? And snapping, it shows how instantaneous it is. Like snapping. Okay, me out of the nightmare. I tried to apologize to brother once more. He slammed the door in my face. Tears rolled down my cheeks, my lips quivering as I stared at the closed door. Slumping against his door, I waited for him to come out. Okay, however, the door remained shut even when our parents attempted to mediate. I knew I had to do something to show the sincerity in my apology. All right, this time mere words were not gonna cut it. Okay, really this part really highlights the fact that actions speak louder than words. Action speaks louder than words is actually our title over here, so it really does link to that. Okay, it really shows that words are mere. That means not a lot, does not have a lot of impact. What is the time now? The time is 12:30. The time is 12:30. It is so cold over here. All right, the time is 12:30. Yu Hao is using me like a no. Cheng Xi is not Yu Hao. Is using me like like a human clock. All right. Okay. So definitely determined to convince brother to accept my apology. I headed to my room, brother's old calligraphy tools in hand. Shutting myself in the room, I got to work recreating brother's Chinese calligraphy set. 1 hour passed. Two, three. I was burning the midnight oil. Calligraphy ink smudged all over my face and hands, crumpled pieces of calligraphy paper strewn all over the floor and table. So every painstaking brushstroke was an apology given form, every crumpled piece of paper an indication of my sincerity, okay? Perhaps it was because I was a left-hander. Perhaps my skills were simply much more inferior to brother. Regardless the reason, try as I might, my Chinese calligraphy skills was simply incomparable to that of brothers. My left hand was trembling from exhaustion as I gripped the calligraphy brush tightly, the muscles in my fingers screaming out in pain. Still, I did not give up. How could I when my mistake could affect my brother's DSA? So over here you can see that how could I really is kind of rhetorical, okay, because it really does say that she did not give up. She does not give up. Okay, but to look at this paragraph over here, we can see over here, determined to convince brother to accept my apology. I hit it, okay? So when you see someone's hitting over somewhere, you can see that there's, it is intentional. It is intentional. She's not just walking over there. She's hitting there. She's walking over there. Reason. All right. Hi, Edwin P. Welcome. All right. Shutting myself in my room. Okay. Recreating 1 hour two. Okay, this is the one that I want to talk about. Okay, so it is structure, but at the same time it is detail. Okay, the thing about structure is that sometimes it can provide detail based on the second structure. It is, in this case, it is reflecting how 1 hour, two, three. It's reflecting how there is almost nothing other than the fact that she's spending as much time as she can. She's giving as much effort as she can to actually recreate the thing that Kiki spoiled. Okay, so it really shows that 1 hour past two, three. It's just nothing else other than that. Time is passing fast. She needs to get it done. Okay, so that's how straightforward it is. There's nothing else other than the fact that time is passing at the moment. Okay, so it's shown by like the short like sentences over here. Burning the midnight oil is an idiom. Okay, for those who have heard of it. Sorry. Okay. Every painstaking was an apology given form. So it really highlights the fact that actions speak louder than words, okay, and it also links to the fact that she says that it's not gonna cut it, okay, so we can also see the idea of cut it to be something the idea of a knife again, so it really links. Oh, what happened? Okay, the idea of a knife, so it really links to what was said previously. What previously was said was the let's see what it is. I don't remember the exact wording, okay. Shock pierced my heart. Okay, he wielded it like a, yeah, words like that. These are all things that add together to create what we call a motif. Okay, a motif essentially means an idea or something, an element that specifically reappears throughout the story. Okay, so this is one of those, and it really does go to show how it's a consistent thing that she feels that she's being hurt by a sword, or she's being threatened that by the mistake that she made. She feels upset about it. Okay, an apology given form, an indication of my sincerity. Okay, so perhaps because I was a lap tender. Okay, so I'm highlighting this all in yellow because these are all detailed. It does not necessarily necessarily move the story forward, but it definitely paints a better picture that she feels guilty that she's not able to live up to his skills, but at the same time she wants to give him a version that's already done because she feels bad about what she did. Okay, does anyone have any question? Hi, Caprio Chua. Hello, guiding angel. I read it as guiding gingo. Okay. Okay, let's look at the second last paragraph, right? Rubbing my blurry eyes the next morning, I stared at my most decent replica of Brother's work thus far, praying that this would convince Brother to accept my apology and help him out with his DSE portfolio. I carefully picked up the Chinese calligraphy set after cleaning my hands and dashed to his room. Slipping inside, I presented the Chinese calligraphy set to him as I swallowed nervously. Brother, I'm really sorry. I did this for you to make up for what I had destroyed. Would you forgive me? I asked, trying to hide the quiver in my voice. I stared at the floor pristinely, unable to look him in the eye. Would he accept my apology this time? After a few seconds, I heard him sigh. Tensing up, I mentally hurled my shields up, preparing for yet another rejection. Okay, suddenly, brother patted me on the head. Startled, I looked up at him to see a smile on his face. My God, I'm so cold. Right. Okay, so definitely tensing up, it shows that she is upset, and it really shows like the nature of the story throughout. Okay, she is upset, and she's essentially very, very scared. Okay, over here we have rubbing my blurry eyes. When you're saying someone's rubbing your blurry eyes, it is essentially what someone does when they wake up in the morning. So definitely, if you're writing a composition where your author or your main character is waking up in the morning, you can use that as well. Okay, so that's the great thing about modern compositions, is that they show you not just what are some great phrases, but how to use these kind of great phrases in a composition as well. Okay, so it gives you that kind of extra context, definitely makes it easier for you to work with some things. Okay, so definitely I would recommend for students who are struggling to come up with certain phrases, or their teacher is telling them constantly, because I remember getting those kind of comments as well as a student, that my teacher was telling me to show not tell, and I was so confused. What do you mean show not tell? Okay, that is such a abstract, such a very I, I I didn't understand what she was saying. I didn't understand what any of my teachers were saying until I was shown some model compositions, and I was shown how to highlight, and it was at that moment that I realized, okay, so highlighting and annotating does help, and it does give me a bit more context into what my teacher is saying. So ever since that, that is something that I've always used, and then now that I'm teaching here, this is something that I always advocate for. Okay, so if students, if you are struggling to understand what your teacher is saying, or you're struggling to understand certain comments that your teachers are making, you can always buy you can always buy a model composition and then annotate it yourself, and then you will have a better understanding. Okay, trust that, trust that. All right. Yeah. Straight at the floor personally. Okay, so definitely it does show a lot of back and forth. The back and forth here are all considered blue. Okay, some people might wonder, why am I putting the back and forth in yellow? It does not really add to the story. The thing is, it does. Okay, it shows us, it is a build up about the fact that she keeps on trying to apologize to him, but he's not accepting the apology until the moment when he does. And the fact that she does not, it takes so long for him to accept her apology, gives his forgiveness even more value. Okay, so definitely is interesting. My silly younger sister, thank you for making this for me. You must have stayed up all night to write this, judging by the eye bags under your eye and the smudges all over your clothes and face. Am I right? Thank you, and I forgive you. Brother murmured as he laid my Chinese calligraphy set on his table. I grinned at him, relief washing over me like a tidal wave. I hugged him tightly, making a mental note to never be so callous again. Okay, so one more example of, if you have a model composition, you can always use it to generate and adapt it to your own composition. Is this over here at the end? I have made a note. Um, See the sentence, making a mental note to never be so callous again. You can use it in so many different compositions. Let's say you were impolite to your parent and you hurt your feelings. You can write, I made a mental note to never be so impolite to my parents again, or never be so rude as a person. Okay, and also, let's say if you lost your wallet or something, you can say, make a mental note to never be so forgetful, clumsy again, or careless again, or you could just write that I made a mental note to be more vigilant and more careful in the future. Okay, so there are definitely a lot of options when it comes to writing a good composition, so definitely don't have to worry. Okay, so over here we definitely have a lot of good phrases. I hope everyone took something away from this. Okay, so in this case, again, this is the PSLE composition booklet that I'm reading this and taking this from. You guys can take a look over here. This is 29.90. You guys can take a look right now. This is a QR code in case you guys would like to make that purchase here directly. Okay, you guys can also go on Podia and check it out. We have a lot of other ebooks, so you can also choose to get it as a bundle. Okay, there will be bundle prices with more value. Definitely take a look at that. All right. Okay, so again, this is the QR code. Do let us know if you have any questions. You guys can type in the chat, or you can type in the service button, the orange one with the white arrow, or you could just WhatsApp our team and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, could we play another ebook video? All right, so as everyone can see, these are our ebooks, all right? So we also have a lot of others, including editing and oral practice, okay? So it really depends on what you feel like you need that extra boost in. Definitely, I wouldn't say that you have to get everything, but we also have bundle prices for those who want to have who those want to make that bigger purchases, okay? So do let us know. And also we have the WhatsApp number above, so in case, let's say we're not doing a live, but there are some issues that you're facing, you can always let us know via there. All right, so do let us know. Okay, I also want to share more about the features of this ebook. Okay, when it comes to this ebook, we have 25 PSLE model compositions, as you guys can see here via the QR code, not the QR code, via the contents page. Okay, you guys can also scan for more website information. Okay, there is a service button right here at the bottom. It is orange with a white arrow. You guys can always text over here, like Yuhao is Chengxi. I keep forgetting, and then we will get back to you. Okay, we have a moderator here to help. We have also we have me over here to help. Okay, and yeah, we have a whole team ready to help with the WhatsApp. So definitely do let us know if you have any further inquiries or issues that you are facing. Okay, we also have the vocab list included over here. Okay, the one we went through was action speaks louder than words. It's page 63. Okay, over here, this is the vocab list. This is for another one. Okay, so this is the rough format that is going to be in. Okay, so you guys can have take a look. Okay, so this is 29.90. And this is the cover page if you're feeling like you want to make that purchase on Podia. Okay. Otherwise, you can always scan the QR code here to get yours directly. Okay. Now, this is the O-level English model essay one. It's different. It's for O-level students. You guys can see over here, this is the cover page. And also, this is a QR code. Okay, it's 26.90 at the moment. You guys can make that purchase on Podia, or you guys can make that purchase here. Okay, so some people enjoy being in crowded places while others enjoy being somewhere quieter with fewer people. Describe your perfect place. Okay, so in this case, we definitely see that this is content that is more towards the description side, whereas question 2 and 3 is content that is slightly different. Okay, so as you guys can see from this book is not just one type of content. It's not just one type of question. That's not what we're trying to do. This book has as much questions as we're question types as we can. Okay, so you guys can see we're really trying to add in as many as we can. Okay, such as, let's see, question 2. I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought, right about the time where you felt like this. Okay, so this is something that is definitely more towards the narrative side. You can see that from right about the time when you felt like this. And for question 3, you can see that it is something that is more of an argumentative. Okay, so how far do you agree? I agree to a large extent. I agree to a small extent. Okay, these are all things that you can tell from the question. And of course, if you're having trouble breaking the question down, or if you're getting comment from teachers that you have to break the question down more accurately or more like in a foolproof way, this O-level booklet has a section that is called comprehensive question analysis. Okay, essentially what it does is that it helps you to break down questions. It teaches you how to do so that by the end of this booklet, you should be able to do so by yourself at school. Okay, sorry for the buffer. Okay, as you can see over here, this is the format. It should look something like this. Again, from this you can really tell that there is little to no filler pages when it comes to this Compo booklet. This e-booklet. It's not like the other assessment books where there are a lot of filler pages. For this, there is just content and content and content. Okay, so you guys can always take a look if you're interested. Thank you so much for the like, Yu Hao. Chengxi, I keep forgetting. All right. Okay, so we have this. Hi, chum chum. Chum chum potato. Okay. Okay, so what we have over here is the question essay question analysis. Okay, what that is one of my favorite things because actually it is so valuable for our students to be able to break down the questions. If you're not able to break down the questions, there is that high chance that you are not fully understanding the question, and which means that you are also more likely to go off topic or answer the question in a way that is not what the teacher wants. Okay, So in this case, we are following a 3 point step. You guys can see here. So essay question analysis, we have essay question genre, and the answer is narrative essay. Okay, so over here you guys can actually see that it is from the question, write about a time when you felt like this. Okay, so when you're talking asking someone to write about a time, it's usually asking for a description of an event. Okay, so something that requires both description and description and progress. Okay, something that requires description and detail. Okay, so again, the word stronger could be physically, mentally, or even something even more abstract. And finally, you have realized and previously. So these are all things that give away what this question is about and what kind of answers they actually do want. Okay, so it's so important because imagine if you're not able to break down the question like this, it's really just giving marks away for free. Okay, so this is definitely something that we would prioritize as a tuition center. All right. All right. So you guys can see part three. You can talk about why you had self-doubts about your capability and then explain in detail one particular situation that aided in regaining your confidence in your strength. Okay. Since strength can be either physical or mental strength, it would be good to cover both in your essay. Okay. Now, spaced repetition. That is one of the effective learning strategies, and that is definitely something that I want students to be more and more exposed to. Okay, especially in when you move up to higher levels, academic levels in secondary school and JC, your workload will start to increase. So it's so important that you're able to work in a way that benefits, get your psychology to work in a way that benefits your time. Okay, that's something that is so important. And I did not understand the full importance of it until I was in secondary school myself. Okay, now when it comes to exam tips, we have spaced repetition. Okay, spaced repetition refers to a method of reviewing material at systematic levels. Okay, essentially, it gets harder and harder the more you review material. So the more you encounter certain bits of information, the less information you need to refresh your memory of it. So instead of leaving all your wisdom to the last minute, just 30 minutes of revision every day for a long period of time can help you to master, retain memory much more easily. Okay, one, review your notes. So within 20 to 24 hours of intake of information, okay, review them again for short-term retention. Okay, again, short-term memory and long-term memory are very, very different things. Okay, when you review the content, you want to read them and then look away um, to try to recall important points. So read again after recalling the information, this time without referring to your notes. Recall again, recall the material every 2 to 3 days over the week. This will ensure that your brain is constantly refreshed with the content and committed to long-term memory. Of course, I understand that a lot of people have different things that they're trying to work on. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we have our June holidays and we also have our oral or our ebooks. Okay, so definitely you can always drop and sign up to take a look at what we're doing. Okay, it is so important for students to be well prepped for PSLE, especially since we're only a few months away. Okay, could we have the June holiday promo again for everyone to see? Okay, so definitely we have a lot of content prepared for June. Okay, for the June holiday program, we will be go through it in around I would say 15 minutes. Okay, not 15 minutes. We'll start going through it at around 2:15. Sorry, my bad. Okay, always do let us know whatever questions that you might have. Okay, we will do our best to answer your questions. Okay, but to continue on about this O level essay. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys one example and I'm gonna read it through with you guys. Okay, we have previously already done our annotation, but let's look through it again. Okay, this is the vocab list. So we have Bonnie and Clyde, Catalyst, Bring Me Confidence, Knew It Like the Back of My Hand. So there's a lot more. Okay, again, a lot of change, a lot of deducing until what time? Okay, let's see. What time will the June holiday be till? Be till 6? No, 4, 2 to 4, 2:15 to 4, and then 4:30 to 6. Okay, yeah, 2:30 to 4, and then 4:30 to 6. Yeah, ebooks again for 4:30 to 6. All right, Yuha, I hope that answers your question. And Yuha, thank you so much for 800 likes. Wow, we have 800 likes. That is amazing. All right, thank you so much, everyone. All right, do let us know if you have any questions. Okay, this is the ebook. This is the writer's hour ebook. We do have a lot of other options as well, including for editing, for oral exam, and for normal composition. Okay, so definitely there are so many things that you can look at. Okay, just it's like a little shopping spree. Okay, so you can take a little look. All right, so in this case, I am going to read what we have over here. Okay, self doubt, fear of failure. These two were like Bonnie and Clyde, partners in crime, working hand in hand when it came to demolishing my courage, taking part in competitions. The humiliating defeat of my very first ice skating ring competition haunted me, but one bad moment shall not cripple my strength, my fighting spirit to become a competitive figure skater. It was a moment of epiphany that made me realize I was not as I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay. Looking back, my first skating competition was the catalyst of my downfall, and I had wallowed in self pity for the longest time. Okay, it was a small zone competition where live spectators seated around the small skating ring in Jurong. Okay, my friends were doing a live stream to share with the other classmates who could not be there with us. I was brimming with confidence, and I felt the strength in my legs when I put on the skating shoes, ready for my um to get ready for my turn to compete. This is going to be a breeze, I muttered under my breath as I recalled the short months of training leading up to this moment. Little did I know that the sense of complacency would soon send me down an abyss of humiliating defeat. Okay, so the key over here is to not be overconfident. Okay, that's what we're taking away from this. Okay. Stepping into the ring, I shot my classmates a smirk that was clouded in an air of confidence. My step sequence was choreographed by both me and the coach, and I knew it like the back of my hand. When I got onto the surface onto the ring, I let my muscle memory take the stage as I started to skate to the classical music. I had heard the song time and time again, and the familiarity emanated a sense of certainty and conviction. But before I could even complete my jump sequence, I lost my balance and fell. So in this case, that is definitely the defeat and the humiliation we talk about in the first paragraph. My world went in slow motion as my limp body plummeted into the cold and harsh embrace of the ice. The spectators stopped cheering, and my world too had stopped in that environment. All right, what became of the day? What became of the day remained a blur to me. The the mix and mash of red flashing ambulance lights as well as the cold appearance were you right before I blacked out. All right, the jump sequence did not leave any permanent damage. However, I hit the sides of my face and the wound healed beautifully. However, I was mentally and emotionally scarred by my very public failure, and all I could see in the mental image of myself was tinged with disappointment and embarrassment. I concurred that everyone was mocking me and that I was simply an embodiment of defeat. All these fears materialized on my physique, and I was certain that there was absolutely no strength in my legs, the very same pair of legs that stood strong in skating shoes, the very same pair of legs that I believed would jump the jump sequence. Perhaps I was not as strong as I imagined myself to be. Okay, so there's the questioning phrase. Okay, I developed an intense fear and dread towards the competitive skating rings, as well as all forms of competition. All right, definitely that is something interesting, I would say. All right. Right? I had given up, but my coach had not. After my recovery, I repudiated my coach's relentless pleas for me to try skating again. Okay, my big foot had abolished any dignity and self-respect I had formerly possessed. Okay, then one day I received a text message from my coach, and it was accompanied by a short video. I absentmindedly clicked on the video, and it was a clip of my very first competition. The scenes of me skating in a pristine white ice rink. My coach's voice echoed in the background of the video as he analyzed my every move. You were great at the start, but take a closer look at your stance before you did the jump. There's a misalignment in your dot dot dot. My heart thumped against my ribcage as I watched the video with bated breath. I lingered to my coach's I listened to my coach's words as he broke down what we could do to improve all the moves. When the video ended, I broke down and cried because I realized I really do miss skating. I miss being on the ice and gliding across the expanse of the ice rink. I dried my tears resolutely and I put my fist together. I decided it was time for me to try again. This time, I devoted my heart and soul into the training, pouring in blood, sweat, and tears at every session. I fell countless times during training. There was pain and tears shed, but no strength lost. In fact, with every vigorous training, I felt myself growing stronger and stronger, and I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Definitely a link to the question over here, all right? The day of the competition had finally arrived, and the tidal waves of anxiety and stress started as I waited for my turn on the rink. The lacing of my skates felt stifling tight, just like how my chest was tight with anxiety. Like a snap to attention, I heard my name blaring from the speakers, echoing across the arena. This was my time to shine. I got into the ring and vowed to give it my all. The soreness in my core, the anxiety in my chest, and all my self-doubt melted away as I devoted my entirety to the jump sequences. My momentum accumulated at the peak of the music that accompanied the routine as I executed every jump and spin to loud applause as a swan to loud applause. My choreographed routine ended as quickly as it began. I glided towards the ring as gracefully as a swan with an aura of confidence and pride. I did it. It was surreal, but I did it. And I'm happy I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought. Alright, so definitely this is something to note. Hi Sean JY. We'll be ending the live actually very shortly. We're almost done with our ebook lives. Does anyone have any questions? All right, you can always type in the service button below or the comment section there. All right, do let us know. Do let us know. All right. Okay, again, I will go through the vocab bank. Okay, for everyone to see over here, this is the vocab bank, and this is something that will be attached to all compositions. Okay, now we have one for every composition. You guys can see it over here. I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought right about a time where you felt like this. Okay, so definitely we will be looking at a lot of topic specific language. And the reason why topic specific language is so important, like I mentioned before, is that it does help you sound more engaging because it makes you sound more informative. Okay, now when it comes to students who are weaker in vocab, I always say you can start small. You can start small with emotions. Okay, always work and highlight the emotions. Like over here, we have and highlight it. Brimming with confidence, to be full of confidence. Okay. So over here, there's only this one. Okay. So it is very, very important. Oh, there is more. Moment of epiphany. Okay, and it's also very important for students to be able to put down emotions. Like, okay, I'm gonna add to this one. And this is something that I always tell students that it's good for them to do. Okay, and this is something that you can do by yourself. Okay, but what this model composition does is that it adds to that. Okay, so definitely I'm gonna put in happiness, sadness, anger, stress. Okay, so we have all that. What else do we have? Okay, around this much. Okay, I think it's, oh, fear. We have fear. Can't forget fear. Okay, so we have all these. Okay, and what I always tell students to do that if you want that vocab bank and you're building it yourself, what you can do is that you can start by using synonyms. Okay, happy, sad, angry, stress, and scared. These are all base words. But what are words that can actually elevate that? Okay, so we have happiness. We can say elated. We can say excited. Okay, and then for sadness, we can say upset. We can say discouraged. We can say um, for anger, we can say actually upset also works. Upset, angered, furious. Stress, we have panicked. No, I would say fear. We have fearful, that's the base. Okay, we have shaking in my boots, shaking my shoes. Okay, but we're looking for one word. We can say fearful. What other words? Can anyone think of a word for fearful, a synonym for fear? We have scared. Okay, that is one. Scared. Terrified, there we go. Terrified. Okay, furious, rage. So like rage overtook her. Stress, panicked, distressed. Okay, sadness, upset, discouraged, uh grief, grieved, grieved, happiness, elated, excited, ecstatic. You could also put what others? But anyway, for emotions, these are the few that you should always remember, and you can create an even longer list. Okay, I would always recommend that. But if you're looking for something more sophisticated, something to add on to that, I would always recommend that you find a vocab bank online. Okay, we actually do have some good synonyms and good additions that you can have to your vocab bank on our website. Okay, we actually have our blog post. Okay, in our blog post you should be able to find quite an amount like that, and you can just insert it into your vocab bank. But if you're looking for something, like I said again, more sophisticated and more topic specific, okay, for certain teams, I would highly recommend purchasing at least one of our model composition ebooks. Okay, because the ebooks will definitely have that vocab list inside. Do check the description. Okay, and it will definitely be able to support your vocab bank. Okay, so that is definitely one of the things that students can look at when it comes to that. All right. But yeah, I think we're almost at the end of our live. Does anyone have any questions? Hi, Daily Dose of Ying. Okay, for those who are for those who weren't able to catch me on the live, or those who weren't able to have any of your questions answered, you guys can always WhatsApp the number over there. Okay, it's 8404-9281. Okay, so our team will get back to you, and yeah, we have a whole team ready to help. So definitely do not worry about that. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I think that's about it for this live. All right, thank you everyone for joining.